soon as we're live.
No problem.
No, you gotta calm down
We're live.
though. It's 6 o'clock and we'll call this meeting to order. Any public comment on items under the jurisdiction of the board and not on the agenda?
Yeah, I've got something for you guys. TJ Gravely, Public Works Director. So last year we got 59% of our ERP money, which we started out being 251,000 and some change short on our budget. With the 59% that we've received, that leaves 103,000. And last Wednesday, we had a discussion at the commission level as far as what they wanted to do as far as recouping the rest of that money is. Was the commissioners going to write it off? Or did they want us to send out another letter and try to recoup some? We haven't received any money since May. So there's about 200 and some change people that still owe that don't have assessments. I don't know where they're taking their garbage or if they're piggybacking off somebody else or what. In the discussion, it was deemed that the commissioners want to send out another letter. So the end of last week, I started drafting the letter and sent off to the commission just to kind of review, add, subtract, whatever. It's going to be on the commission agenda for the 17th for a discussion decision as far as getting that letter out, and we're going to get that out as soon as possible. Hoping we can connect with the people and get them to pay that money back. If they don't, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it and see if the commission is ready to forgive it.
You say 200K? Did you say 200?
We were 251,000 short to begin with. We're 103 now.
Okay.
So we received 59% of it, basically.
Could we have something in that letter that says, if you haven't paid in 60 days, we're going to put everybody's name in the newspaper? I'm not kidding.
I'm not sure about that, Eric. Yeah, I'd have to look into that.
Might be a good incentive.
Well, if I might,
Uh-oh, here comes Bill.
Go ahead, Bill.
I don't know if that's a bad idea, because the alternative is to do tax liens or something like that. The commissioners don't want to do that at all. So, you could do it where you put people's names in that didn't pay, or you put a thank you to everybody who did pay. That's another way you could do it. And then somebody would not see their name in there, and maybe they'd feel guilty about it.
Yeah, part of the problem is looking at the list of people that's on there. Is there's a lot of prominent people in Broadwater County that own a lot of land. And they've paid some of their assessments, but they're not paying all of them. And like Bill said, the commission doesn't want to put a lien on their property, and neither do I. That might be an option to look into.
It's all public information.
It is public information, 100%.
Yep.
So put something in there that after 60 days, if your name is not removed from the list, you're going to go in the newspaper. Weekly?
Possibly. I mean,
because otherwise, if you mentioned forgive, people are going to hear that, and
well, what do you say to the people that did pay?
Yeah.
You thank them for the people that did pay, but now you just passed on that 103,000 to everybody else that did pay their assessment. Is that fair to them? No. We're very transparent as far as what people owe, other than putting it in the paper like you said. And our office is kind of an open book. People don't like the truth. I'm sorry. The truth hurts sometimes, but we need that 103,000. If we're going to look at upgrading the transfer station here in the next 5 to 7 years. To replace that transfer station is probably going to cost $6 million. There's grants available at 10% match. I don't have $600,000 sitting around to match that 10%. Bill will show you here in a few minutes, you know, we're doing okay, but we're not $600,000 okay.
Yeah, and the,
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
yeah,
Is
go
it
ahead, Bill.
possible that, so you have a situation where somebody who has multiple assessments has a sticker because they paid one of those multiple. Can you withhold giving them any stickers at all unless all of their assessments are paid?
Not really, because the assessment they received the sticker for was paid.
No, but what I'm saying is, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, stickers.
Well, when the assessment goes up and people start saying,
Why?
why, you could go, oh, because how many people haven't paid?
There's 200 and some.
You can go knock on these 200 people's doors and say, thanks for not paying, my bill just went up.
Well, honestly, that's why we had to raise the assessment to begin with, because we were $251,000 short.
And for, like you said, for respect for the people that did pay, the forgiveness, I don't think is an option.
I have a real problem with the forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've given them a year and a half to pay,
Correct.
right? A year and a half we've been going through this?
Yep.
Yeah, I think actual letters going out, maybe a year.
No, it's over a year. It's
I
closer
think it
to a
was
year and a
March or
half.
April of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
I
time to
think-
start
Sorry,
recouping. No, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I think thanking on the paper, thanking the ones that did pay, and then
Mhm.
saying, here's a list of the ones that didn't, that we really appreciate it, you can do this. Otherwise,
This is
Yeah.
going to raise.
you know, it's gonna filter to the ones that did pay, and so you'll get pressure from the ones that did pay, pushing their neighbor, hey, pay that, I don't wanna pay more because you didn't pay. And
Right.
That's just not fair.
It's not fair.
you know.
It's definitely not
So I
fair.
think maybe that guilt thing
It
might
might.
be the way to shake the tree a little bit.
It might to some. Will it to all? I doubt it, but it might.
I'll bet you seeing your name in the newspaper and your neighbors seeing that you
They'll
haven't
remind
paid might be some extra incentive.
Yeah, say, hey, why didn't you pay your fees, you know? We had to. You know, I do think that's probably the best way to handle it. Look, people, when they don't pay their taxes, it's in the newspaper. And
When you
this
get a
is
ticket in
same-
town, you're in the newspaper.
That's right.
We'll
same
quit
damn
getting
thing.
tickets, Eric.
So, that's my take on it.
What if, I'm just spitballing here, but what if the council decided that they didn't want to go through with that? Can an individual person pay for that information to be in the newspaper? Because it's all public information, right?
It is all public information.
So even if we didn't do it with your letter, an individual could have it published out of their own pocket.
Like you?
There's not a,
I do like the idea of putting a thank
I
you
just-
in the paper. I think that's a good starting point. Let me do some talking with Kevin and kind of go from there. Like I said, the letter's drafted somewhat, and we haven't received any money since May, so my guess is those ones that are using the services of what is now Republic Services don't think they have to pay, is what my guess is.
I
But
don't
you
know,
use the
A year and
service.
a half later, that's,
Maybe they forgot.
plenty of
I don't
time.
know.
I don't think they forgot.
No.
I really don't.
How many people did you say that didn't pay?
There's roughly 200 out.
200. Yeah,
I mean, out of 8,500 people in Broadwater County, 200 is a small number, but it's still $103,000.
so then I would definitely post it, put it in the paper. I mean, those people need to have to answer to other people around them.
Mhm.
You know, may or may not get it, but also I'll explain that this is gonna be deferred to the other customers that did pay, and it's just not fair, so we really appreciate you guys to cough it up.
Well, what does that figure out to? Actually, it'd probably come in closer, the assessment would probably have to be what Eric originally said, where it'd be $300.
Amazing how I figure those numbers out.
With both your socks off.
Just saying.
No.
You know, I jokingly said it before, but a person could start a collection agency. And we need to talk about fees for reimbursement, percentage.
Even if we got 30%.
You wanna start an LLC?
Yeah.
Even if we give
Is
you
that
30%,
conflict
that's
of
not
interest?
bad. It might be a little bit conflict of interest. All right, that's all I've got for right now. There is no minutes for you to approve tonight.
Okay. I guess that brings up Bill.
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's great to see you all. And what I want to do is give you a glimpse at the budget. And I apologize, I don't have the printouts for you. Let me know what you can, if you can see the spreadsheet on the television.
Can you make it bigger, Bill?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Can you make it bigger, please?
Okay,
Holler when you guys can see it.
does that help?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to walk you through the fiscal year 25 budget and what happened. The good news is everything in column J, which is highlighted right now, column J, everything that's green is revenue that came in above budget. So we set budget revenues for penalty and interest, disposal charges, container rentals, miscellaneous revenues, maintenance assessment. All of those revenues came in higher than expected. You have to look at the percentages as well as the dollar amounts. So the big one is here in row 16, the maintenance assessment that we charge, which is not the IRP monies, but the normal assessment, came in at almost 110% of what we expected. Adding about 90, neighborhood of 90 some thousand revenue, in dollars in revenue, additional revenue. That's all good news. At the bottom of the revenue sources, we have the Equitable Assessment Recovery Program revenues. As we've been discussing tonight, that came in at 59%. 148,395 came in, leaving us at about 103,000 that is yet to be recovered. That would be a source of revenue for the next fiscal year if we go after it. And there's a question is how many people would pay that pass-through amount, knowing that they're already paying this year's assessment and they'll be getting stickers. So you guys have discussed tonight what we can do to encourage them to pay their pass-through, but my guess is that of the 103,000 that's yet to come in, we're going to have a very hard time getting that money in. Maybe you can get 10 to 15,000, but I don't think you're going to get anywhere close to 103. Yep, so the two revenue sources that we have, the maintenance assessment here in row 27, as I said, came in at 109%, almost 110%. All the other sources of revenue came in at 115%, almost 116%, meaning that total revenue came in at 111.6%, bringing in almost $1.3 million when we expected to bring in 1,163,000. That's all real good news on the revenue side. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the resolution. Do you have any questions about the revenue?
Nope.
Okay. So
When was
go to you.
the last time that this solid waste was in the black?
I can't tell you that. It was before me.
It's at least 5 years, and it's been written up in the audits for consecutive years. This year, the auditors did not scold us on the solid waste enterprise fund. The reason is the assessment system that you guys came in to get the pass-through amounts, that was a positive, and accounts receivable counts as a revenue yet to be received. And that put us that almost put us in the black from an accounting standpoint. If we were to get the other 103,000, then we would be in the black entirely, and we would have made up all the ground that we lost in the previous years, which is great news.
Will you
I want
increase
to show
that?
you the,
Bill, increase the size.
I'm sorry?
Increase the size of your screen, zoom it out, or zoom it in.
Okay. You want to reduce it?
No, I want you to make it bigger.
And just need to
Okay.
maintain
There you
All
go.
right.
that.
So what you're looking at, now what you're looking at is the expenditure budget. We start out on the, in this upper section, this is Public Works Administration. This is the staff cost for Misty and TJ, the executive team that runs the system. So we call it the in-office versus the out-of-office staff costs. Everything in red means that we were over budget, green is under budget. The things that were over budget were within 1% of being over budget. So just slightly over on salaries and unemployment, insurance, and retirement, 0.15%, no big deal. Workers' comp was under, health insurance was way under, FICA, Medicare was under. So they ended up with this budget for the executive staff being 96.81% of budget. So they were under budget. All good news. This next section is the outside office people. This is for all the locations. Salaries, all the personnel costs are in this first sections. Rows 17 through 25. They came in at 94.46%, which is great. They're over a little bit on salaries, unemployment insurance, etc., but overall under budget. The next section is the operation and maintenance cost. O&M budget is all the materials, non-personnel things. So these are in order of the amount that they were over budget. So the ones that are red, over budget, and then as they go green, they're under budget, and we'll talk about that in a second, but for those things that were over budget, you have to look at the original budget amount, which is in column Y, and then what the end of the year expenditures counted out to be. So when you have a small amount and it's over budget by a high percentage, it doesn't kill you. It just means, what it does is it points to us needing to dial in that expense in the FY26 budget, which we did as we constructed the FY26 budget that we're operating under right now. Conversely, to those things that were under budget, when they're way under budget, that means that we're padding our budget we're padding our expenditures and not spending the money. So you take these things together, what we try to do is, in future budgets, dial it in so that we're about 95% correct what we budget and what we end up spending. So you can see the things we're over: publicity, subscriptions and dues, postage, contract services. These are small contracts. I think these are service contracts. Utility services were over. Operating supplies, office supplies, all of those were over. Tipping fees, this is where we start to go into the green. Because of the decision we made to go to Lewis and Clark, we had budgeted $136,000 in tipping fees. We only spent $109,000, or just under $110,000. We saved $37,000 right there. The next category, repair and maintenance services, we were under by another $15,000, $14,000. Gas, oil, diesel fuel, grease, we were under by $20,000 almost. Repair and maintenance supplies, we were under by another $10,000. So all this does add up. As we go to the totals then, total O&M expenditure was less than 80% of what we budgeted. We saved a lot of money. It's a $304,000 budget, and we only spent $243,000. Between all of the outside personnel and the O&M, we set a budget at $741, and we came in at $656, about 88% of what we budgeted. So performance on the out-of-office side of solid waste was very good. So far, what you're seeing in the bottom line for administrative staff up here, and the bottom line for outside staff, we're under budget. And I'll show you how this all adds up in a minute. On depreciation, and TJ, I made some adjustments for the machinery and equipment line. I actually counted that out of the depreciation expense. Okay?
Okay.
And I'll explain that more to you in a future meeting. But we had committed to set aside $204,000 for future replacement of our assets. We did make that expenditure, $204,000. We made 100% expenditure there. And then we paid off our intercap loan that the commissioners had. It's $2,400 in interest. Actually, we had an intercap loan that we had to finish. Then we had a commissioner's loan for solid waste, which we paid off. So we no longer have a loan to commissioners, which was an amount of money that solid waste needed to just get by when they run that huge shortfall. That's been paid off. That's an expense that we won't have in the future. Okay, so the way this all adds up is the block that you're looking at right now starts on row 71. Public Works Administration, 96% of budget. Solid waste operations, the outside stuff, 88%. Capital improvement plan, which is an S-curve investment in assets, 100% expenditure. Commissioner's solid waste loan, 100% expense. In total then, of the $1,079,000 budget, we only spent $993,000. 92%. Okay? Now let me show you what this adds up to. I think you'll be pleased. I was when I saw it. Put a little summary on the first page here for you. I'll blow it up. The section in black I added today. This is your kind of your bottom line summary of what happened. Revenue came in 11.6% higher at $1,298,000. Expenses were $993,000. That includes money set aside for future capital replacement, the Nessie Curve investment. We have never done that before. That is really good news for the future, because now we're in a position to, as a matter of habit and a matter of great management, to have that expenditure made, that money gets stored or is used to replace the assets. We only spent $993,000, so we're at 9.76% under budget. Even after you pay your Nessie Curve expenses, we ended up $305,000 net in our budget.
That's great.
So what does that mean? Now, but don't forget, this budget also anticipated $251,000 in revenue. We got 59% of that. We got 148,000. We're not going to have that next year. But what these numbers, if you took the 251,000 out of the 305, even making capital investment, which you've never done before, they would have been 51,000 in the black. Now, imagine that you could take care of that $103,000 shortfall in the IRP. And maybe you can do that, maybe you write it off and you just have good budget performance for 2 years. You get that $103,000 back. You fully fund depreciation, and you do it all with the assessment that you guys set. It's very possible you won't have to change the assessment next year either, unless, and I'm talking to major disaster here, unless this board decides that they want to see a change in operations, which we've talked about in the past, which we haven't done because we wanted to see how things would work out. What I'm telling you from a financial standpoint, you're doing really well. You're doing really well. And with the assessment charges that you have, it's all going to work out. Now, the reason that you did better than expected, part of it was charging people proper amounts of assessments. That means the business community were properly assessed. We also picked up customers, so we had a number of more assessments that brought in more revenue. That was all good. TJ does a phenomenal job saving money. Now, what I would say to TJ is, don't pad your expenditures so much, and let's see what happens. But regardless, you had a pretty good year.
You know, the way I look at it, Bill, I think that the team that we have around us, between the Solid Waste Board and you and Misty and everybody, I do think that what we're doing works, and I think it's proven right there. The stuff you saw in red, the postage and things like that, that was our hit for all those letters that went out. That's on me. I'll take the hit for that because we didn't know where we were going with that originally, remember? But I do think that, I don't know that if it's been in the black in 5 years. I don't know that. I do know that it was in rough shape when I took it over. And we assembled this team to do this. And I think, like Bill says, I think we've done a fantastic job doing what we're doing.
So TJ, has you got many complaints about the system now with the
the only complaint I get is people that don't have their decals and not being let in. I says, no, you're not being let in without a decal. That was put in place for a reason. It was to capture the people that weren't paying, and we have done that.
Mm-hmm.
that is part of the reason you see that 922,000 taken in.
Yeah.
What was that? Was it 11%, Bill, or something like that increase, or 9% increase? That's why. The minimal cost that we've got invested in that to capture that money, I think that was well worth it.
Speaking of decals, how do I get one? I mean, I got an old one.
Did you pay your assessment?
Oh, yeah, I'm in the city. No, but I mean,
Just because you're in the city don't mean you paid it. There's a lot of people in this town that haven't.
oh, is that right? Well,
Yes.
If I didn't know it.
There's a combination probably. It's either in the mail. I did receive a phone call from John Fuchs that has multiple assessments on the commercial bar on his own property. From the time it left our office till the time he received it was 45 days.
Oh, really?
Yes. And the last one went out the end of June, 2 weeks before the end of June. So middle of
See, I
June.
It's
had-
like regular mail?
Yeah.
US.
We used to do all the mail, local mail sorted was in Townsend. Now it either goes to Great Falls or Billings.
It's crazy.
Or sometimes back east.
Or sometimes
Why
back
mail-in ballots doesn't work?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, I
Yep.
dumped some stuff
That was
over
for
here a
Bill.
few
And
weeks
you
ago.
wonder why the
And I
USPS
had
is
a blue
red.
sticker, and the guy said, well, we'll let you in, but you gotta get a yellow sticker or something, and I didn't even know
Yeah,
anything about that.
Yeah, I
He
can
said,
look
get
at
it from
that.
Misty.
Yeah,
Do we have any of those here?
not with me.
So, Bill, that
Yes, sir.
that 305, is that solvent? That's actual cash on hand per se?
That's gonna be, that should be cash on hand. I think that should be cash on hand someplace.
So, would it, and I'm asking you and TJ both, would it be something to think about to take, because the budget money's there, and the cash reserve is there, would it be feasible to say that you could move some of that money into basically its own fund, like a capital improvement fund that stays in its own and not directly in the enterprise?
Well, okay, so two things have happened with that net amount. The net amount is part of that's going to be used for the $103,000 you're still waiting to get,
Yep.
okay? So now you're down to 202. Actually, whatever money's left over there could be moved. It basically sits in the cash balance for the enterprise fund. We could move it. We could take half of it and move it into your asset replacement fund, your Nessie Curve fund.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the best place to put it.
yeah, you know, when it's available, it goes. When it's not so available, it doesn't so go. But I think for me personally, I think for future endeavors to have a separated fund, although keep it on the spreadsheet, have that as a slush
Don't use that word.
in a
It
in
could go
a
into the
fund.
CIP technically. The CIP actually isn't on that. Correct, Bill? I don't think I remember seeing that. So out of that $305,000, I've still got payments on our hook truck. I've still got payments on our trailer. We just purchased a new excavator that hit land, I think Monday in Seattle, I believe. So I'll have those payments. So basically what Bill's tried to say is that money is going to be set in reserves.
Yeah, it's not just like,
It's not free money.
No. But is there?
This money has to stay. This money has to stay in the enterprise fund.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those things that TJ's talking about, the payments he's making, those are in his current budget.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time we do quarterly budget review, I'll give you an update on the FY26 budget, and you'll be able to see where they're at.
So
That's cash balance. That cash balance belongs to the enterprise fund.
yes.
It's uncommitted at this point.
yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
it's not like we made $305,000.
No. But the CIP's in the budget, right?
The CIP is, actually, it's a separate fund, and we do not budget the CIP. We put money into it, but we don't budget it. The only time it's considered in the budget is if we were to take money out of the CIP and use it. Then we would add that as a revenue source to the budget, just like any other revenue source that we have in that list on this page. It just sits in a separate account. It earns interest.
Yeah,
until it's
but
committed.
we have that account, correct? So the net is the net.
Absolutely. That's correct.
So that's what I'm saying. Cannot, correct me if I'm wrong, part of that money can be put into that fund itself.
It could.
Yes.
You could do a budget amendment, and you can receive that money and spend it to the asset replacement. That's where I would put it.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you don't have a separate capital fund,
no,
really. You don't need one.
no, and without the capital improvements to the solid waste portion of it, solid waste is going to fail. So if some of that money was moved into the CIP fund, a percentage or a dollar amount was moved into that fund, it's going to be usable at your discretion.
So basically that 204,000 is what I'm using that money for.
Yep.
So how much interest rate are you paying on your equipment that you got payments due on?
Well, the one that I just took with the commission for the new excavator is 4.53%, Bill. Is that what was in the
Is that what you're paying?
Yeah, what's the county investment? What I did is I took a loan from the commission. Instead of giving the money to CAT, the $27,000 to $30,000 in interest to CAT, I actually went to the commission, asked them for a loan, so the money that they had invested, they still get that money and they get the interest at the same rate as what they had their investments in.
Well, would it make sense to, I was just gonna ask, would it make sense to use some of that money, just pay that off?
Not necessarily.
No.
No?
Now you've got, okay, so let me explain. So the county has built up in the county general fund. We have built up cash over the years. That is a source of capital that could be used by the county. We can loan that out and earn money on it. We could also take all of that cash and invest it in the state investment pool and earn interest on it. So whether we earn interest on it from the state fund or whether we earn interest from the solid waste fund, doesn't make any difference. We're still earning interest. We have the capital, we loan it out, we get it back with interest. It's a win-win for everybody. So that's where that capital came from that TJ borrowed. The principal and interest payments on that loan are coming out of his budget right now. And we totally anticipate as an expense. It's in the FY26 budget. So the money that you're looking at, the 305 could be used to cover the shortfall in the fund because we're running a deficit. We got back some of that deficit. We didn't get all of it, so we have a $103,000 deficit. This covers that deficit. That leaves us about $200,000, which you guys could recommend to the commission. We'd like to move. We'd like to move an appropriate balance, whatever is appropriate, half it or something like that. Move it to asset replacement, the asset replacement fund, which we're building up over time. And then we earn interest on the replacement fund.
I think we gotta wait on that to find out how much of the 103,000 we're gonna get back. before
Yeah.
we decide to start
Yep.
Yeah.
moving that away. We gotta get through another year of,
No, and I'm not saying start writing checks for it, but if it if a portion of it can be moved into, out of the enterprise checkbook and into the CIP, capital replacement, and use it as a cushion so that that doesn't go red.
Well, you're right to a certain extent, Kip, because you've got to look at the future moving down the road. Like I said, 5 to 10 years, if we decide to build a new transfer station down at Cedar Street, move it off the hill, I've got to have $600,000 sitting there right now at today's value
Yep.
for my 10% match, and we're nowhere close to that right now.
Yep. Yep.
So-
Well, and that would leave a cushion on both sides, you know, if, just theoretically saying with the 200,000, if there was an appropriation for 50%, 50% remains in the enterprise budget fund, the other 50% goes into the capital improvement fund. 100,000 this way and 100,000 this way. The way I do it is I keep a cushion so that if there's 5 rainy days in a row, I've got a cushion sitting there.
Yeah, so it's like if I lose an engine, I'm 50,000.
Right.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yep.
Say I lose a loader, I got to rent or lease a loader for X amount of dollars. It's about 50,000 a year. That is going to be the next thing that has to be replaced, and I think that's in 2 years. I think looking at the Nessie curve, I think 2 or 3 years. But all the equipment, all the trucks we run, with the exception of the new hook truck, are old.
Yep.
And they've got a lot of miles on them. But just because they're old doesn't mean they're wore out.
Yep.
I mean, except me, I'm old and I'm wore out.
Yep.
But a 1997 semi, you can run that million,
Yeah.
$1.2 million, $1.3 million, 800,000. You're probably looking at a major on it. Major on that's going to cost you 50 grand.
Yep.
So if you were, kept everything status quo for next year, and would we have, well, minus the 103,000 if we eat that, would we expect maybe be double that?
I don't think double. I think you would probably see another, with the charges in our rentals that we're using for our long-term rentals and the charges for the trees and the large furniture and things like that, I think you could say another 100, 125 probably on top of it.
But the point is, the more you got in that chunk of money, it gives you some options for
It does.
transfer stations.
It does. It truly does.
Yeah, I think that what you guys are talking about, we have the Nessie curve for the rolling stock, but we don't have any other reserve for facilities.
No.
So what you're really doing is establishing a capital fund for another purpose that we haven't talked about yet.
Yep.
Does the new transfer station, that's not part of the CIP, that's gonna be a separate fund, right?
Correct.
But that in itself too, it's not going to pay for itself, but it's going to save considerable amount of money with the fuel for back and forth and the double handling, triple handling, and if it all comes to fruition, there's going to be a 1.5 handling versus
3 to 4 to 5 times.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So where would you store all that stuff if you said that you had a transfer station here at Cedar Street?
That Cedar Street would be expanded. It would be more like Lewis and Clark, City of Helena. It would be, those semis are pulling in, we're loading the semis instead of loading cans.
Oh,
We've got an extra trailer right now that we are in the process of fixing, welding. Problem is I need another tractor under it. So there's an additional expense that I haven't even come to bill with yet, nor have I even looked at it. When one truck leaves, another one's pulling underneath. Kip's 100% right. My whole thing is efficiency, quit handling it so damn much. The transfer station would still be there for your trees, your metal, your compost, things like that. But that would be at a limited basis. It wouldn't be open all the time.
Yeah.
Where Cedar Street would be open all the time. I actually think if we did that, we could cut man hours down.
Could we cut some of the out places down too?
We're talking about it right now. We're just kind of kicking that can around. I would really like to consolidate Toston and Radersburg. I know that I mentioned that to you guys quite a while ago. That was quite the hornet's nest I stirred up there, but anywhere from Toston to the Radersburg site's 10 miles.
Yep.
Backside of the lake is 10 miles. From Dry Gulch to town is probably 7. So in the future, what I could see is Winston staying open. I could see Toston staying open and Cedar Street staying open. Not saying that's happening tomorrow or this year,
Yep.
but I do think that if we're going to get efficient, we have to look at that, and we need to cut our costs because we run a really tight ship, but I know that if I changed a little bit more, we could squeak out a little bit more on the personnel side.
And when you think about it, people that live at Radersburg are constantly going to Toston and Helena or Bozeman anyhow. aren't they?
100%. You know, it's not like it was 40 years ago
They don't have a
where you went to
grocery
town once a week
Right,
or once a month.
yeah.
People are in town all the time. I bet Eric's probably been to town 3 times already today.
Yeah, I mean, there's,
Twice.
you have to go that way to go anywhere.
Exactly.
So they could haul it in probably easier than anybody else.
And with Cedar Street being open 12 hours a day except on Saturdays and Sundays, that's giving you a lot of options.
2 things. We need to cut down your pen and paper supply. Bill, you need to work on Slashman's pen and paper supply. He doesn't need so many U.S. government pens. He doesn't need blue and black.
I don't have black, they're all blue.
The other thing is, I don't know if we have numbers on this, but the county's the fastest growing county in Montana right now.
It's not anymore.
Oh, it's not?
It's not anymore.
Thank God.
No.
This was
Well,
the
but
first
still,
year.
it is
in the
growing,
top
which
4.
means more revenue, right?
Correct. Except for if they're in the J24 district, south of Highway or 101, the gravel road out there by 437. That's its own district. They're not in our solid waste district. There's
Oh,
800, I think there's 816 addresses down there that are not in our solid waste district.
800?
They chose not to join our solid waste district.
Wow. What did they do?
Haul it to Logan. Or have L&L or Republic Services on a route pick their stuff up.
Okay.
I guess that makes sense for them
It does.
because they're on the way to Bozeman, most of them anyhow.
It does, because honestly, if they were in our district, we'd probably have to have another site somewhere closer down there for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I want to build another site unless it's going to be a super site for a transfer station.
Yeah.
All right.
You got anything else, Bill?
Just happy to show that is a good report, and as you get into the discussions of, you know, what you want to do with other capital expenses and changing operations, I'm more than happy to be involved any way I can.
I just want to say thanks, Bill, for all you've done. That's pretty thorough.
No.
Good work.
It's a great team, it really is. When you have this much attention on this particular operation, it really pays off. So thanks for all that you do as well.
Thanks, Bill.
I'll just listen in to the rest of the meeting, if that's okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Most definitely. Well, next time I want to see Joe Rogan sitting next to you. Thanks, Bill. Next is discussion decision on Lakeside Distillery. And Patrick, you weren't here last meeting.
No, that's that about?
His goal is to be pretty much net zero on landfill. He's got a few things to do yet and get a certificate to do it, but he wants his assessment dropped. What was it?
2-1.
To 1? Yep.
Correct. He's at 3 right now. I caution you on this until everything's in place.
Right.
Because as I think I mentioned this off the record to you, that he actually still owes the ERP.
Yep.
And I have a hard time signing off on it when you owe us money.
Yep.
Or was
I-
he still with us?
Get up to date, show us your certificate, then we can talk.
Absolutely. I agree with Kif. I do think the zero waste, the UL stuff he's doing is a fantastic program. It's I believe, a European program. He weighed his garbage for 2 months, I believe it was, and it was 17 pounds. So a lot of his grains and stuff that come back after distilling, a farmer takes. So his drinkware is glass, his straws are metal. I don't remember the exact, what he told us. Was it a little bit of cardboard maybe,
I
Kip?
think, and all his other glass, wasn't he taking it to Helena?
He was
for
looking,
source?
that's what it was. He was looking for a recycler for glass, and we give him a couple options on that because Helena no longer will take it.
Is he know that he's not paid up on the ERP?
He should because he's received letters.
Okay.
When I was going through the assessments as far as validating the numbers on them, it kind of popped out at me because we had just had the meeting and I'd made mention to Kip
So he
that,
just publicly outed somebody. So I guess it'd be okay to put it all. in
yeah,
the
I
newspaper.
publicly outed somebody. And I do believe that he will do the right thing
Yeah.
and be current, especially if he's wanting a 1 assessment instead of
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
I did reach out to the city to see if they're gonna charge him, and they said nobody in the city limits gets free service. And I says, that's not true. I says, there's several people in this city that receive free service. You just haven't caught them yet.
Yep.
I think the program that he's doing is a fantastic program. I wish more people would do that, but that's not the era we live in, I guess.
Nope.
As much as people want to recycle, recycling is just not an option right now. It's cost prohibitive.
Yep.
If they want to pay for recycling, I'm all for it. But we can't lose money to recycle. Lewis and Clark County loses almost $1 million a year on recycling. And I do believe they charge for it.
It's a scam.
So you guys can discuss what you think and you're wanting to do. I mean, once he gets his UL, it's kind of up to you for recommendation.
Yeah, I think.
How soon do we need to make a decision on that?
We
Uh,
got some time.
Yeah, yep, yep, and like Eric said, I'm on board with the current and the certification. That's definite, and with the time that we have and missing a couple people, I think it can kind of be tabled, but that's my
Yeah.
recommendation too.
Yeah.
I think what he told us at the meeting last month is he was hoping to be there by spring,
Yep,
was his words. And I think we agreed at that point, well, let's visit it. We'll discuss it next meeting and then kind of visit it in the spring.
Do you think that by giving him a break, there's gonna be other people wanting breaks too?
I'm sure there is, but they're gonna have to prove why.
yep,
I think that's another thing we talked about.
Yeah,
The last meeting is we gotta come up with some kind of a, well, we decided that they had to come before the
they have to come before the
us
board.
and plead their case. I think that's.
Correct.
That's another thing we discussed.
and it is
Last
case
meeting.
by case.
It is a
Yeah.
case-by-case scenario.
And
So is he there's a certification that he's zero
That's,
emissions or whatever?
that's the one thing that can overrule a lot. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get other people probably coming in here going, well, wait a minute, I want mine reduced. Well, to get his reduction, he has to have a certification, and that's a process that he's got to go through. So he will be certified as
UL.
UL net zero almost. So you'll have a certification for that.
So what process is that? I mean, is that,
It's not, it doesn't happen overnight.
I mean, we
So-
have to jump through a bunch of hoops
Yep,
to get that?
yep. So you could have, we could have an individual come in here and go, well, I'm only doing 100 pounds. Prove it, show a certification on it, and then it'll be visited.
Is that a
Aside from that,
state or federal program that he's doing? I think it's federal.
I
It's
think
a
it's
federal
federal.
program.
yep,
Oh, it is?
yep.
That sounds reasonable. And if they can prove it and they've went through all the process, then I guess we'll consider it.
And there's several other places that could probably try it, but ultimately there's several businesses that there's no way they can get to net zero just
Yeah.
because of the product.
Right.
Yep.
And it may be just only a handful anyhow, which is,
Yep.
all right.
That's that.
Yes, sir. Anything else, TJ?
I have nothing else.
Next meeting will be October 4th at 6 p.m.
14th?
14th.
or 14th, sorry.
This
4th.
ain't 4th is on a Saturday.
Well, heck, might as well. All right, meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Bill.
Good to see you, Bill.
Yep.
See you, Bill.